Next thing we're going to talk about is fighting fitness. There is this myth in the martial arts world that size doesn't matter, especially where self-defense is concerned. There is a truth to the statement that 85% of women who just do something in a self-defense situation succeed, escape, and live and to fight another day. That being said, if you're going to take the time to spend time on becoming a martial artist, on taking self-defense courses and self-defense training in order to defend yourself, then you should probably also take the time to get into fitness. It's like this selling point that you don't have to get big, you don't have to get swole, and in fact, tendonitis is going to make you a greater chance of being injured in a fight or whatever, right? It's like we shove McDonald's down our face and obey all the alcohol commercials out there that say you need to drink to have a good time. And we chase this cheap dopamine and we think that, you know, our lifestyle is to find comfort and sit on the couch and stream Netflix and just fall apart. And that's like our goal, right? That's our goal as a society, especially right now. And in reality, like, you should be seeking out physical fitness, taking care of your temple, being active, getting healthy dopamine. And for some reason, like, one of the selling points of most self-defense courses or whatever, that you don't have to get big, you don't have to be big. In fact, it hinders your capabilities as a fighter. And that's just not true, because again, like I said in the philosophies course, most manuals and techniques are, you know, written for people that are 5'8", 5'9" to 6+, right? And when they're telling you, like, if you just do this technique, you'll be able to defeat this larger opponent. Well, to some degree, yeah, but size does matter, right? So the reality is that, like, as a short male who's 5'3", I hear people say all the time to me that, oh, I've got a shorter friend that was able to do that. You'll have no problems with it, whatever. Kind of humbling myself here. The reality is that when I meet that shorter friend, 9 times out of 10, the shortest that they are is like 5'6", and I'm 5'3". And believe it or not, that 3 inches makes a significant difference. Now, I never get dominated in ground matches, jiu-jitsu matches, boxing, whatever it is, with range, all that stuff, as a 5'3" guy against 200-pound opponents. And that is because I practice Shaolin style stretching, Qigong, Yi Jin Jing, yoga, and I maintain my flexibility. I eat right, turmeric, I handle inflammation, stretching, things, you know, therapeutic recovery, like things of that nature that keep me flexible. But I also do a lot of weight training and heavy lifts, not powerlifting, but more bodybuilding. And I also do a lot of HIIT training and cardio, and I run, and I do all these things so that even at 42 years old, if I'm up against a 6'2", 200-pound, 20-year-old opponent, they can't out cardio me on the mat or sparring. I'm one of those lead from the front type of guys, right? So, like, a couple weeks ago, I had like 4 of my advanced students, and I set the clock at 60 seconds, and I fought each of them one at a time. They were gassed after their 60 seconds, and then they got a 3-minute break. I took no breaks, and not one of them dominated me, right? Technically, one of them was my advanced 16-year-old students. That's a different situation, because pretty much all I'm doing there is lowering my guard and letting her punch me in the face while helping her learn how to cover and block incoming strikes and keeping her head covered. But that in itself is its own cardiovascular event. At any rate, like, you have to be able to keep up. Like, if nothing else, if you want to be a Sifu, if you want to be a master, if you know, an instructor, whatever, ideally, you have to be able to keep up with your class. You should be able to get called out at any time by any student, and at least be able to not have your ass handed to you, right? Because in real life, when you're fighting, occasionally, you know, I mean, fighting's fighting. And if you got any courage and intestinal fortitude as an instructor, you should be rolling on the mat, showing them that, you know, you're not afraid to get after it. You're not afraid to get hurt. And you too are human, right? Because that builds their confidence, actually. So But to be able to keep up, man, you got to be physically fit as an instructor. And to be able to stand a chance in a sustained combat situation with an adversary, you have to be able to have good cardio. You have to be able to keep up with that guy. You got to be able to stay in the fight and out-muscle them at times. So there's definitely a dichotomy there. And again, like, yes, 85% of females that get into a self-defense situation, that just do something, make it out of there and survive. But why go into it with that mentality if you don't have to, right? That's an FBI statistic. Like, why go into that mentality if you don't have to, if you have the time to get physically fit? So get off the couch, get off Netflix, get off McDonald's, and get in the gym is the bottom line up front. So there was that one female that was in that gymnasium that was in the news not too long ago, and she was in the gym and she recognized a guy that was a regular there, and she opened the door to let him in because he had forgotten his key or whatever, and it was just the two of them inside the gym. And then when she went back over the squat rack and took her eyes off of him for a second, he attempted to assault her. And one of the guys who ran the analysis on one of the news agencies, the YouTube video, you can find, it's in the playlist, and one of the playlists that I have on the website. So check it out, watch it. One of the news agencies picked an analyst who was a Krav Maga instructor. And he broke it down, textbook, and everything she did was, I mean, and there was like 100 things she did right, was in keeping with any technique that had been taught in a Krav Maga self-defense course. I mean, everything she did was textbook, from maintaining distance, getting objects between them, continuing to throw punches and strikes like crazy, not letting him take over her center of gravity. I mean, she fought like someone who was trained. And initially I thought she was trained, and I thought that analyst was actually her Krav Maga instructor breaking it down for the news, what he had taught her and what she did. I mean, she looked like a trained fighter, and maybe not just in Krav Maga. She could have been trained in anything. Later on, they did a follow-up and they did an interview with her, and she's never had a self-defense class in her entire life, right? So it does lend to the statistic, the FBI statistic, about 85% of females who fight back and just do something, right, survive the encounter. But something else to consider. She was physically fit, right? She was in the gym, throwing up significant amount of weight. She'd been a bodybuilder her whole life, you know, on the squat rack. So she had strong legs. She had a strong core. She was able to be in a sustained fight, right? It was a sustained fight. It carries on from one side of the gym through an opening to another side of the gym and ends on the ground, like that U shape, right? You've got to watch the video. But it went on for a sustained period. At one point, she actually got away, attempted to run away, couldn't make it out the door, realized she had to stay in the fight. And a lot of that was not just because she was fighting back, but because she was physically fit. She had him out cardioed, right? That's obvious on the video. She had him out, she had more strength than he had, more core strength, more capability. She could go for longer distances, longer time periods, right? She was just physically dangerous, right? So it can't be said enough. Like, yes, you can survive an encounter if you just do something, right? If you're taking self-defense courses or training in jiu-jitsu or training in Krav Maga or training in boxing or whatever, yeah, it's going to help, right? But to honestly be able to be in sustained combat or conflict and not able to get away or just quickly overwhelm your adversary and critically injure them immediately, right? That's a possibility. But you have to be prepared for the fact that you may be in a sustained, prolonged encounter. And if you don't have good fitness, if you don't have a strong cardiovascular system, if your enemy can just grab you and hold you in place, and you don't have the physical muscular strength and endurance to withstand them and maintain your center of gravity and do whatever it is you need to do, it could lend to catastrophic failure. So yes, train in self-defense, but don't skip the physical fitness piece. Get strong, right? Get fight strong. As a martial artist, someone who trains for functional fitness, everything lends to my fighting capabilities and my combat capabilities, right? My whole fitness regimen, you know, if I ever wanted to go into powerlifting, my body build the way I've built my body is that I could go into powerlifting and then adapt what I do and tweak my fitness routine to get into that, right? And sustain a lot less injury in that category. If I wanted to go and be a marathon runner, I could suddenly take the fitness I have now and tweak that fitness regimen and easily go into marathon running over a short period of time. However, for a marathon runner to try and make the leap to a power lifter or a bodybuilder who builds for aesthetic, right? That's a huge leap. For a power lifter to try and go to a marathon runner, that's a huge leap. For a power lifter to go to bodybuilding, again, like, however, like if you build a fighter's fit body, you become like a multi-tool. Right, and that's the idea, is not to create too much tendonitis, to actually address that tendonitis, to keep yourself loose, flexible, mobile, but be strong and have a strong cardiovascular system. Bottom line up front, most manuals are written for people 5'8" to 6 foot, or by people that are 5'8" to 6 foot. 5'7", 5'8" people think they're short. They don't know what it is to be 5'1", 5'2", 5'3". If you are going to be in sustained combat with an enemy in a self-defense situation or a combative situation, you need to be able to have the cardiovascular system and the core strength to outlast them, so that if you can't get away from the fight and you can't overwhelm them, you can survive at least until help arrives. And you also need to learn how to make noise and draw attention to yourself so that people can come and help. But in that event, why wash a Ferrari and then not put a coat of wax on it? It doesn't make sense. If you're going to train to fight and you're going to train to become a fighter or a self-defense instructor, right? If you're working towards a black belt, then whatever it is that you're doing in the fight world, why not also get physically fit? Why not get functionally strong? It just doesn't make sense to me, again, why we seek comfort so much, as if comfort is a reward. Comfort is not a reward. Results are a reward, right? So get in the gym, get strong, get fit, stay flexible, stay functional, address that tendonitis. You don't want to have any of those things, right? Gear your fitness regimen towards calisthenics, yoga, qigong, yi jin jing, suspension trainers, resistance bands, fitness sandbags, dumbbells, kettlebells, things of that nature. You can keep it light. You can build plenty of muscle, strong cardiovascular system, and still be functional. You don't have to be deadlifting 500 pounds or doing power cleans with 200 pounds, or you don't have to do that stuff, right? Yes, that stuff can lead to injury. And then when you're doing those types of things, you're training towards being a powerlifter, or training towards being a bodybuilder. And if you're enthusiastic about those things, keep doing them. Not saying don't, but I'm saying that if you're in the fight world and you see those things as hindrances because they can create injury and affect mobility, well, then I'll agree with you on that. But just cutting out fitness and not going to the gym as a whole and saying that, the strongest, biggest guys, they can't actually defend themselves because they're slow, and that's total crap, right? Oh, they got tendonitis, so they're easy targets for... No, they're not. I have injuries all up and down this one arm alone. I've had a hyperextended elbow, tennis elbow, pulled bicep muscle, lateral tear in my rear delt, and all that stuff's never healed. Trust me, you can punch on that and poke at it all you want. I'm still going to annihilate you. I'm going to fight like a rabid, starving, trapped, cornered animal, and you're going to regret every decision you made in your whole life that led you to a point where you cornered me. And my arm pain or the disability throughout my whole body is not going to hinder me when I know it's time for war, right? It's time for combat. So that tendonitis, that excuse or whatever have you, get into the gym. Just don't do things that are going to create inflammation and injury. And you are going to injure yourself every once in a while, and you're going to have to recover. But ultimately, you want to be able to fight in a sustained fight against a larger, stronger opponent and have them close distance with you and immediately go, oh, wow, this guy's not a soft target. This ain't a paper tiger I'm fighting here, right? Just like that girl in the gym. So watch that video and get fit.